Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Sarah and I'll be guiding you through your yin class here today. So today's yin class is focused on the spine. We will be working with props, so we'll need some blocks, a blanket and a bolster. You can substitute for these things at home. You can always use any sort of blanket you have, even a towel, anything that just kind of keep you a little bit nourished and warm. Add on any extra layers like socks and stuff. So yin is it's very slow practice. We'll be holding poses for about 3 to 4 minutes. There's not much heat that's generated. So yeah, add on some layers and keep warm. If you don't have a bolster, you can always use a pillow from the sofa. Same with blocks, just get creative. You can always use things like Tupperware and stuff to help prop things up during practice. So when you're ready, come to find a comfortable seat to begin with. So it might be that you're sitting on top of a prop, it could be you're cross-legged or that you're kneeling, but just come to find a comfortable seat that suits you. And when you found that comfortable seat, come to either close down the eyes or take a soft gaze. Allow the hands to rest wherever they feel like resting. Maybe that's on the thighs or away from the thighs. And bring some awareness to the sit bones, to the connection, the foundation beneath you in your seat. And bring some awareness into the spine as it starts at the pelvis and comes all the way up into the neck. Some awareness into the crown of the head. And think about this energetic field, this energetic line that's reaching from the sit bones all the way to the top of the crown of the head, drawing energy up, creating some length from some space from your seat up to the crown of the head. And giving a very slight tuck of the chin towards the chest, nothing big, just very small, drawing the chin in. And start to bring some awareness to the breath within the body. To the inhale and to the exhale as it flows in and out. Be mindful not to force or change anything within your breathing pattern. We're just observing, having awareness with the breath as it comes in and out. And if it helps to anchor you in your breath awareness, maybe you use the word inhale as you inhale and exhale as you exhale. And then start to bring some awareness to where the breath is within the body for you here today. There is no right or wrong. I'm just simply observing where the breath might be coming from. Maybe you feel it in the stomach, the chest. Maybe it's the rise and fall of the shoulders. Maybe you feel it in the nostrils. And once again, we're just observing. We're not forcing or changing anything, but we are focusing our awareness and maintaining our awareness with that point in the body that you feel the breath coming in and out of. And just focusing your attention here. And then coming to let go of that breath awareness practice. Bringing your hands outside of the hips so that they're away from the body. Fingertips are reaching down towards the earth. And then come to turn your palms so that they're facing outwards away from the body. On your next breath, bring the hands all the way up above the head. The palms might meet, and then on your breath, draw the hands down through heart center. Take in 3 more rounds like that. Inhaling, bring the hands up. Exhale to bring the hands back down. Maybe it takes an inhale and exhale to get up, and an inhale and exhale to come back down. Just moving with your breath and with what works for you here. Maintaining that soft gaze of the eyes, or maybe the eyes are still closed. And when you've done your final round, there is no rush, taking your time, bringing the hands back towards the thighs or to rest outside of the hips. And gently coming to open up the eyes, bringing your senses back into the room. So we're going to begin today's practice in butterfly, in Baddha Konasana. So come off of your props if you sit on only props for your breath practice. Come to bring your blanket. Maybe come to bring it so that it's towards the back of your mat here. Just keeping all your props close by, your pillow and your blocks as well. And then come to extend the legs nice and long. Gently come to draw in the right leg so that the bottom of the right foot is inside of the left leg, and then come to bring in the left foot so that both of the soles of the feet meet. Take the feet a bit further away from you, so you're creating a longer diamond shape here, and inviting those blocks underneath the thighs here to give them support. Just shuffling yourself towards the edge of that blanket to help give a little bit more tilt here if you need it. Just taking your time to set up your butterfly pose here. And then bringing the hands outside of the body, drawing the chin in towards the chest as we start to round through the upper back and coming into the mid back. So we're coming to kind of fold forward, but there's a rounding happening. So there's flexion happening through the back here. If you want to go a little bit further, you can always, or you want to pop up a bit, you can always bring the bolster so that it's on top of the thighs, and then bring the forearms to rest on top. Maybe the hands are on top of one another as you bring the forehead to rest onto the hands here. But we're looking to create a rounding through the back, a flexion through the spine here. And if you want extra, if that's not enough sensation for you, maybe you're coming further forward, the hands are coming in between the legs here. Maybe that bolster is on the feet as you bring the forehead down to the bolster. I'm just coming to set up for your anatomy here, for what feels accessible and comfortable for you. And you found yourself into your butterfly pose. Come to find some stillness. Start to bring some awareness to the sensations that might be arising within the body. Noticing if there is any sensation. If there's not, maybe you might like to progress a little bit deeper into the posture, adjusting where necessary till you find an appropriate edge of depth for you. Until you're feeling that sensation through the spine. And once again, just coming to bring that awareness to the sensation and what sensation that might be. So we are looking to find sensation, but we're not looking to find any pain. And by sensation, it could be possibly a bit of tension or compression. But if you do start to notice anything like tingling, numbness, or an electrical feeling, that's your body's way of communicating you might have gone a bit too far. So maybe coming back out and then coming back to find your edge once more. And then coming to settle in here. Finding some stillness. Stillness of the body and stillness of the mind. Very slowly and mindfully, just taking 3 more rounds of breath where you are. Moving very slowly with the breath. And when you've done your final round of breath, going to come up to rise, but we're taking this piece by piece. So not rushing, coming out gently and mindfully, allowing the body time to expand back out of the pose that we've just spent a few minutes in. Very gently removing any props that might be underneath the hips or on top of the thighs. And then to counter pose, you might like to take the feet to the long edges of the mat and just take the knees over to one side and then to the other, just working with some windshield wipers here. Leaning back ever so slightly, hands are back behind you. Beautiful. And then coming back through center, coming to extend the legs long, maybe giving them a shimmy and shake. So if there's 2 options here. We're coming into Supta Baddha Konasana, so butterfly, recline butterfly. But you don't have to necessarily bring in the legs here. So we're going to recline basically over our bolsters. So you can feel free to maybe roll out your blanket to create some softness along the edge of your mat, because we're going to be here for a few rounds of minutes. So we're taking the bolster or your pillow or whatever prop you're using today along the long edge of the mat. come to bring the base of your spine, so where your pelvis is, towards that bottom of the bolster or the prop. Now, these are the two options here. You can extend the legs long, and you can slowly start to walk the hands back behind you as you recline over the bolster or the pillow. Or you can start to bring the legs in so the bases of the feet are meeting, and then having those props underneath the knees one more time for Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana. But we just have spent about 3-4 minutes with our legs that way, so if you're not feeling it, just extend the legs. So once you've come to find yourself reclined over your prop and set up with your variation of legs, just coming to allow the arms to expand out wide beside you. Come to maybe close down the eyes or take a soft gaze here. And come to tune in to the sensations here that arise. Bring your awareness into the spine, into the front body, the chest, the rib cage, as it opens up here in this pose. Can you go inside of your experience? Maybe even visualize the tissues, the muscles softening with the breath here. Allowing the breath to be a supporter within these postures. Coming to find some stillness within this pose. Tuning your focus inwards. And taking 3 to 4 more rounds of breath where you are. If your legs are in Supta Baddha Konasana legs, coming to extend them long, one by one, moving super slow. And we'll all meet with coming to bend our knees and planting our feet onto the mat. Just moving any props out of the way. As we come to roll over to one side, very gently and mindfully moving that prop from underneath the back, rolling back onto our backs. As we draw the knees in towards your chest, giving the thighs a little squeeze towards the body. On your next breath, bringing the feet back down towards the mat, And to roll over to one side as you come up to rise. Next, transitioning into caterpillar. So refolding that blanket back up so we can create that little pelvic tilt again. Or if that's not working for you, feel free not to use the pelvic tilt. But we're going to find the sit bones towards the edge of that blanket. Do you find that little lip, that little edge part where you feel like the sit bones are just coming off to the point where that creates that tilt? And then come to extend the legs out nice and long. Having your props close by. And then either coming to bring the hands to the outside. There's a couple of variations you can take here in caterpillar. So if you know where you're going, feel free to go there, but you can have the hands to the outside edges of the mat and you can start to walk yourself forward. If you notice as you start to come forward and you start to round through the back a little bit and you notice there's a little bit of tension or tugging underneath the hamstrings and it doesn't feel good, you can always invite in some blocks underneath the legs or maybe a rolled up blanket or towel. You can even just bend the knees. But we're looking to bring the chest towards the thighs and once again we're rounding through the upper back. So bringing that flexion in towards the spine, chin is coming in towards the chest. The other alternative is that you can bring in the bolster, so that comes across the top of the thighs. Once again, you can bring the forearms to the bolster and you can bring the forehead down towards the hands. If the head doesn't quite make it to the hands, you can use that block if you're not using it under the legs. You can bring the forehead. So you can stack props on top of each other to make these postures more accessible. Coming to find your edge first, your depth, so that point of where you're feeling the sensation. So we're not really looking to feel sensation along the back of the hamstrings here. I mean, there will be some, but we're looking to feel it into the spine here. So that rounding forward motion, we're looking to feel a stretch across the middle of the back into the lower part of the back. Maybe you might even feel it into the top of the back. And coming to settle here. And if you've come to settle and you feel like you've started to become used to that sensation and there's no longer much sensation, maybe you start to remove some props out of the way to allow yourself to round further forward. Maybe you come into that deeper range and it's too much and you come back to where you are. You can always invite that bolster under the thighs to help come to bring the head maybe towards the knees. Maybe they even come between the knees. Just allowing the hands to rest wherever feels good for you. And just listening to the sensation within the body. As we said before, we're looking to feel sensation, but we're not looking to feel pain. You want to feel a nice gentle form of tension so that you can feel that something is happening, that you are doing something to the body, but from a place of nourishing movement, from a place of a nourishing stretch, nourishing tension and compression. If we are feeling any pain, any tingling, any sensations, then we may have gone too far. And then come to settle in here.
Come to find that stillness of the mind. Taking 3 to 4 more rounds of breath where you are, knowing there is no rush. This is your practice, your space, your exploration. And when you feel like you've done your final round of breath, very slowly and gently coming up to rise, folding, unfolding, unraveling the spine piece by piece. Once again, the chin is the last thing to come up. Just removing any props from beneath you. Maybe you're bringing the hands back behind you, placing the feet down and just lifting the hips ever so slightly. Just finding a gentle counter pose. Maybe taking that 2 more times if that feels good for you. Beautiful. And we're going to transition next into Sphinx pose. So coming to, you might like to bring that blanket so that there's a nice padding underneath you as you come to lay prone, as you come to lay all the way down onto your mat. So we're going to begin facing down to begin with. So bringing the hands so that the shoulders, the elbows are in line with the shoulders so that they're cactusing beside the body. And then slowly come up to rise. As you do so, I'm going to start to bring the elbows underneath the shoulders for Sphinx pose. Now you might come here and straight away you notice that compression through the lower spine and it doesn't feel very nice. If it doesn't, you can take your feet wider, take your legs wider so that the feet are coming towards the long edge of the mat. If it still doesn't feel good, you can walk the elbows away from you and you can walk them all the way so that the hands are completely stretched out. So just taking any variation for you, just coming to explore first what each one might feel like. You can always come to bring the hands to wrap around opposite elbows as well as you walk the arms away from you. But once you come to find your version of Sphinx, tuning into the breath here. Noticing the breath within the body. Sometimes when we come into certain postures, if there is compression or tension, we sometimes forget to breathe. So if you're noticing that you're not breathing properly, maybe once again you might have gone too far. So just honour what your body is requesting here and give it the space to open up slowly. If you're noticing the sensation is changing and it's feeling softer, maybe you want something a bit deeper. Maybe you bring in your bolster or your pillow so it's where your forearms were, and you bring the forearms to rest onto the bolster to create a little bit more of an arch through that lower back. You can bring the hands so that you interlace them, and then once again bring the chin in towards the chest. You can still walk that bolster away from you once again to create a little bit more space. But just going inwards and listening to the body. Even bringing some awareness to if there is compression there, how does that compression feel for you? Compression isn't necessarily bad for us, it's actually very healthy for us in many ways. It's only when compression or tension feels funky that it probably is funky. So for example, if the compression is not causing tingling, numbness or electrical feelings or that kind of sensation of pain, then it's possibly healthy compression. But we can only be aware of that if we are observing it and if we are honouring it within our bodies. And once again, if you're looking to add on here within your practice, you can either stay where you are, or if you are wanting more within your Sphinx, you can come up to find Seal. So coming to bring the hands towards the mat, taking them out towards the long edges of the mat, and coming to straighten through the arms. Once again, just honouring what your body's requesting here. Noticing if you come into this posture, is it too much? If it is, just come back to where you was. This is your practice, nobody else's. Coming to find some stillness once more. And then we're all going to very slowly and mindfully lower ourselves all the way down to the mat. Coming to turn your head to face the right side, Coming to cactus the arms so that the elbow is in line with the shoulder or thereabouts. Going to gently draw up the right knee towards the side of the body so it's coming up towards that right elbow. So we're also cactusing the leg now, the right leg. And just releasing through the lower back after we've just taken Sphinx pose for several minutes. And the next breath, coming to extend that leg long back behind you. Going to turn the gaze over towards the left side this time. As you then bring the left knee to draw up towards the left elbow, bending through that knee. So that we're cactusing the leg beside the arm as well. And gently extending that left leg back down the mat, bringing the forehead back down to the mat, bringing the hands beside the rib cage, outside the rib cage. As you push into the hands, come up very gently through tabletop, gently drawing the hips back towards the heels for a few rounds of breath in child's pose. Your hands can stay stretched out ahead of you, or you can reach the hands back behind you. On your next breath, bringing the hands back just underneath the shoulders. Chin is in towards the chest as you come up piece by piece, moving very mindfully as you roll back up towards the seat. Allowing the head to be the last thing that comes up to rise. When you're ready, we're going to turn around and make our way back onto our backs. There'll be a couple of options with this next posture. So just having your props close by, your blocks close by. So Coming to draw the knees in towards the chest, giving them a little squeeze to the body. Taking the arms out towards shoulder height. Palms can face up or down. And then on your next breath, we're going to take the knees over towards the left side. So if this doesn't work for you, you can come to extend that bottom leg. And then you can bring the hand to the top knee, or you can stay with both knees bent as we twist over towards the left side. If they don't quite meet the floor, you can always invite in a block. You can even invite in a block in between the knees if that feels comfortable for you as well. We're twisting through the spine here, so this is where we're looking to feel the sensation into the thoracic, into the mid part of the back. And the gaze can stay up, or you can take it down the left hand. You can take it down the right hand, And we're looking to maintain that upper back down to the mat as well. Once again, if that's not anchored, you can always wedge a blanket or a pillow underneath. And then come to settle in here. Come to find your edge, and once you've found your edge, come to find some stillness. Allowing the mind to still, maybe anchoring your thoughts maybe in the breath if it's wandering. And try not to attach any judgment to it, just observing where the mind has been and bringing it back to the present moment, back to the breath, back to the body. Very gently extending both arms out towards the side if they're not already. And gently rolling back onto your back. Maybe the feet and the feet are onto the floor. As you then gently draw the knees back in towards the chest. And we're coming over to the right side this time. So coming to extend the arms out again back towards shoulder height. Allow the knees to gently sway over towards the right side of the mat. The twist is coming through the spine, through the thoracic part of the spine. Maybe you're inviting some props in, maybe they're underneath the knees. Maybe you might like to extend that bottom leg long if the knees together are not speaking to you here in this pose. And once again, the gaze can be up towards the ceiling, or it can be down the right palm, the right hand. And just listening to your inner dialogue, to what your body's requesting from you here in this pose. Can you come want to find some softness here, to notice if there is any tension, any gripping, any holding. Where is that coming from, and can you reduce that maybe by changing the posture here? Maybe it means you extend that bottom leg. Maybe it means you use that prop to help prop you up. Just honouring your body's requests here. And then coming to find that stillness once you've found your edge, your depth. Tuning into the breath. If that helps to anchor your thoughts in this present moment. Noticing that now you've been here for some time, maybe you can bring a little bit more depth into this posture. Maybe there is more opening for you to move a bit deeper. Maybe that means you bring the knees up a little bit higher. Once again, just tuning in to the body's requests, to those micro talks that they offer you from within the body. And taking 3 to 4 more rounds of breath where you are. There is no rush to come out, taking your time. And when you do, you can do the same way. You can either come in the way you come out the way you came in, or you can just roll onto your back and connect your heels towards the floor. And just rolling out, allowing the breath to help you. Spending time in these postures can result in the body feeling a bit creaky, a little bit, I don't want to use the word achy, but a little bit stiff. So really take your time coming out. Maybe bringing the knees back in towards the chest, giving them a little squeeze towards the body. Having your block or your bolster or a pillow close by, coming to plant the feet back down towards the mat, taking the feet so they're about hip width apart. Just coming to ground into the feet to begin with. And then on your next breath, coming to lift the hips up towards the sky. And as you do so, I'm going to take that block or that cushion and place it underneath the sacrum. So not under the lower back where that arch is. We're placing it onto the pelvis, onto the sacrum, and lowering yourself down very gently. Allow the hips to be held by the prop. Coming to settle in here. Allowing the hands to maybe rest on the body, maybe beside the body, palms might be facing up or down. And come to settle into your bridge pose. You can either stay here where you are if this sensation feels good for you, or you can slowly start to walk your feet away from you until they feel like they're fully extended. If that feels good for the lower back, for the front hip flexors, feel free to come and find that stillness. You can take the feet out wider to create a bit more space. And then tune on in to the sensations within the body. Come in to listen on in. Maybe extending the legs didn't feel so good. Maybe you draw the knees back in, bending through the feet. Once again, just honouring what it is that your body is requesting here. And if you're looking for more sensation, if that's not enough for you, you can bring 2 blocks in. You can stack another block on top of this block to create more height. And then come to settle back on top of that extra block. Come in to observe the body. Notice maybe where the mind might have wandered to, where it might have gone to, and bring it back to the body, back to the present moment. Allowing the body to soften here, to feel that healthy tension, that healthy stress on the joints, on the tissues and the ligaments here. Moving very mindfully, taking 3 more rounds of breath where you are. We'll gently, gently guide our feet in if you extended them one by one. Planting the feet back down to the mat. And before we lift the hips up to remove the block, we're going to do a very micro move, so just enough to get that block or prop underneath you. Come to push into the feet to begin with to bring a small mini amount of engagement, but we'll just slide in that prop from underneath you, allow the back to come back down to the mat. And drawing one knee in towards the chest, as you then draw the other knee in, finding that flexion through the back. Giving the legs a nice little squeeze in towards the body. And then we're coming to find your final resting pose, your Shavasana, and I'll guide you through a mini body awareness meditation to end. So come to get really comfy here. Maybe if you've got 2 blankets, even better. But come to prop yourself up. Maybe you are coming to lay all the way down. Maybe you're placing a pillow underneath the head. Or maybe the bolster's coming behind the back of the legs. If you've got your lights turned on, maybe turning the lights off. Maybe even coming to cover the front of the eyes with something, if that feels good for you. Coming to get really cozy, settling the body here, allowing the arms and the hands to rest anywhere that feels good for you. And once you've found your setup, there is no rush, taking your time. Just come going to notice if you could be maybe 5 to 10% more comfortable than what you are now. Maybe that's a shuffle of the hips, a shimmy of the shoulders underneath, or pulling them out. And then come to close down the eyes or take that soft gaze if you haven't done so already. Start to feel each point of the body connect to the foundations beneath you, to the props, to the ground. And start to bring your awareness to your left foot. To the big toe of the left foot. To the second toe. The third toe. The fourth toe. The little toe. To the sole of the foot. To the heel of the foot. To the whole of the left foot. And taking your awareness over to the right foot. To the right big toe. The fourth toe. The third toe. The second toe. The little toe. To the sole of the right foot. To the heel. To the whole of the right foot. Next, coming over to the left. To the left leg. To the left ankle. The left shin. The left calf. The left thigh. The left buttocks. To the whole of the left leg. And coming over to the right leg. To the right ankle. The right calf. The right shin. The right thigh. The right buttocks. The whole of the right leg. Next, coming into the pelvis, feeling the abdomen, the chest, coming to feel the back, the lower back, the upper back, going to feel the left shoulder blade, the right shoulder blade, and coming into the left shoulder, the left bicep, the left forearm, the left wrist, the left hand, the left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, the whole of the left hand. coming over to the right shoulder, the right bicep, the right forearm, the right wrist, the right hand, the right thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, the whole of the right hand. Bring your awareness to the neck, to the back of the head, to the crown of the head, to the left ear, right ear, to the forehead, to the space in between your eyebrows, to the left eyebrow, to the right eyebrow, to the left cheek, right cheek, to the nose, to the mouth, to the jaw, to the tongue within the mouth. Awareness to the whole of the head, the whole of the head. And bring awareness to the whole of the body, the whole body, the whole body. And you can feel free to end your practice where you are, staying in your Shavasana, your final resting pose, for as long as you want to. Or you can very slowly and subtly start to take some little micro movements through the body, moving very lovingly and kindly to yourself. We're going to find our way up into a seat. But you can take as many steps as you feel free to get there. So maybe coming off, rolling over to one side for a few rounds of breath. Before making your way up into a seat. Maintaining that soft gaze or that close of the eyes. And drawing the hands to heart center, bringing the thumbs towards the sternum, towards the chest. Taking a moment to bring the chin in towards the chest, and bowing to yourself here. And deepest gratitude to each of you, to your practice here today. From my heart to yours. Thank you ever so much. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed your yin class here today. Take care, guys, and see you on the mat next time. Bye.